So I wanted a clarification of whether that was actually fact or fiction and what was causing the problem since we have so many other wells. Okay, and my second question is, if this happens and we're not watering, then does that mean our bill's gonna be reduced until it's fixed? Because I don't see the point in paying the same amount of money for water if we're not being able to use it. Just a point.
Okay. Mr. Rich?
Yeah, I have two questions. I'll just ask one of them though. This is the first I've heard of a well 3 that's got a motor stolen. Can someone give me the history?
Well 9.
Well 9.
Yeah.
Okay,
And
well 9, when was it stolen?
4 or 5 months. Yeah, months ago, sorry. I
And
don't know
the
the
plan for that?
yes,
We've already passed it to be fixed and then a new pump and everything put in it. I don't know what
Did the insurance cover all of that?
where we're at as far as why that project's not underway or done.
Who's the project manager?
It's Mr. Steve Nelson, and
Is he on the phone?
yes, that's who that is. He's our engineer from Century West out of Spokane.
So,
So why is that not replaced yet?
Well, you try and find pieces of equipment. It's always, the COVID is the excuse for not getting here. It's not on the shelf. We can't just pull it off. It has to be special made. So,
Is there a plan in place to do that?
Yeah, it's already been, the council's already approved it and everything. We did that a while ago as far as the new pump and everything else. But as far as when it's gonna get done,
So I'm not trying to beat a dead horse, but these are all the very concerns that I brought up a year ago. What happens when we have a fire? What happens when we lose our pumps? What happens when the water declines? You guys had a report from Terry Tolan, a very well-renowned geological engineer, that said, use all these waters with care because the rural wells, the city wells, all of them will be affected. All of these things have come to full face. Every single one of them. And this is not the first time we've had water issues. So why we've gotten ourselves in this position to turn around and get rid of what we had and use those pumps to those degrees and hammer them. They were going all night long out there at times. I mean, we would have had other resources had we taken care of them. And I think that's my frustration because now everybody here is paying for it. That city, you guys did that for revenue, for the water to come back in and pay for things for the city apparently because, and the council meeting, in that meeting, I was told it's because people didn't want to pay their bills, so we needed to recoup some funds. So those funds should be coming full circle and going back into putting all of this stuff back into place then. And if we obviously don't have the water, then it certainly shouldn't be the city that, or the community members that have to pay for the loss and then have to pay for it on their bill on top of it.
we do still have people that are not paying their bills, so
That's irrelevant.
Right, and that right
That's
there.
when you turn them over to collection, you don't go sell something we don't have in order to make that right, and then expect the people who do pay their bills to keep paying for something they don't have.
Okay, good. You had a question?
I've done water and wastewater for about 12 years. I'd like the project manager who's on the phone to answer the question of where is the project and what's the next phase and what are we doing to get, what happens if we have another fire?
Exactly.
What happens if we, no, it's not exactly, if we've got a well that's not done. We'd let the project manager answer that question. Where are we and what's next?
Okay, Mr. Nelson, did you hear that?
Sorry, I did not hear that. Can you repeat that?
Well,
Sure. What is the status of the replacement on well 9? And what's the next step? What are we waiting for? And then what's being done to expedite it?
The well 9 is the well pump that was stolen.
Correct.
I would have to check with as far as well 9 goes, I'll have to check with Joe and see what the status of the pumping order is. But I do know that it takes a long time to get pumps in, so I'm not surprised that it hasn't come in yet. And you'd have to have a contract to install it as well.
Yeah, so what are we waiting on? What's the next step?
On the whole, for the big issue,
For well 9?
For well 9, just,
I'd have to check with Joe. I believe Joe's been working on getting a replacement pump for that pulled together. But I'm not certain that that is an approved source.
For fires, it could be used.
Yeah, it could be an emergency source as well 6 could be. But I'm not sure. I don't know. I don't think well 9 can be tied into the potable system.
no. Okay, we've got 2 more questions.
So, I know drilling down, further is an option. How about having a man-made reservoir? Has that been an option? Can we do something like that? Would it be cheaper?
Okay, you're gonna have to repeat that.
Sorry, Steve. Would a man-made reservoir be cheaper than drilling down farther, or is that an option that we could use for the town?
A new reservoir would help, but the challenge is as those numbers that kind of laid out illustrate, it's only gonna be a Band-Aid on the bigger problem. As the reservoir level drops and the pump rate drops, if you don't have the water to put the reservoir, it's not gonna help. The ideal situation would be another new reservoir and a well, which hopefully we could do, but again, you're talking about a reservoir, you can figure it's about $1 a gallon. So if you put in a 1 million gallon reservoir, it's gonna be $1 million. And then you couple that with the new well and the piping to tie it all together, it's a grim situation, but it's also balanced with how much can you afford to pass on to the ratepayers.
Okay.
Okay,
Good
Cheryl?
question though, thank you.
My major concern right now is with no watering our lawns and everything, our parks are dry, the cemetery is dry, the school is dry, now all our lawns are gonna be dry. We just had a major fire. If it would've jumped the railroad tracks, all those places will go up like tinder, because everything around them is dry. The weed problem is terrible. What are we supposed to do? We're gonna quit watering and just let our town blow up? Right now, there's a fire going on. That's why Michael left. There's a big car pile up and another fire.
That's not on the highway, is it? Because the accident was out there, my cows are out there. I'm out.
Yeah.
I'll be back.
Anyway, I'm just saying, we're having a horrible dirt storm. I know everybody's aware because of the ash that's coming on. We can't water it down, we can't do anything to stop that. We are in a tinderbox right now, and we need to know, now we can't water anything, so what are we to do? Just sit here and burn? Do you have any solutions or ideas of what we can do to help our own selves? Because if it's green around your house, you have a less chance of burning than when you're all dried up. And like I said, all the parks are dry, the cemetery is dry. I mean, these things are happening here, and I'd say we're in an emergency. Maybe we should kick somebody in the rear and get some help.
That's what we're trying to do with this. Yes.
Yeah, but
So, Jamie, you have,
okay. Steve, Sunday, the 31st of July, I woke up to brown water coming out of my faucet and bathtub. I sent a picture to Paula. She informed me that nobody else was having any problems and that it was probably my home's problem. So being the past mayor, I was giving her that information that it was brown because that means one thing, that your well is pumping too low and you're getting into the level of vegetable oil that sits on top of it, plus the dirt and gunk that it churns up. I'm a little bit pissed off that I was not taken seriously, because that was well over a week ago. So I do have samples of that water. If you would like it, if it would help out to show somebody and prove how low that it was and the issues that we're having, I do have other samples that I can get to you if you would like. If that would help in a application process.
We're on the same line as she is, and we've had some of the same problems. She's on 7 with us. I mean, when we had our water problems, she had the same ones.
Okay,
It was a well running too low over a week ago. Stephen, did you hear my question? Hello?
Mr. Nelson? Oh.
Sorry, I was just gonna say, yeah, the samples would be great, photos of the water would be fine. I would
Okay.
be happy to pass those along to the Department of Health, get that to USDA. I think that is all really powerful stuff and really important. Because like I said, it's pretty gross, unfortunately, but until you have an emergency on your hands, like Lynn has now, it's pretty hard to get funding. So the good news is there are programs out there, and I would love to see some photos of that. If you've got a sample or sample results, that's great too.
Oh, yeah.
I think now is the time to really be pushing that. Thank you.
I have pictures. I compared it to bottled water to show Paula that I was serious.
Great.
So I'll call your office.
But just to make it clear, the surrounding people around you, they didn't have any issues with the tinted water. So I just wanted to let you know. I did call everyone.
Yes, that's what you told me, and then you told me it was my own personal problem.
But you put it on
Okay,
the
so
public notice?
everyone, I would like to continue on with unfinished business. The resolution 2206.
What is the resolution? Yeah, could we hear it?
Okay. A resolution of the Town Council of Lynn, Washington declaring an existence of an emergency, providing for commercial and residential bans on usage for watering of lawns, imposing monetary and other penalties, and fixing a time when the same shall be effective. You want me to read all of it?
Sure.
Okay. Whereas the town's water supply is subject to weather conditions and other emergencies, and therefore usage reductions and/or bans may be required to assure an adequate supply of essential need. And whereas the town is supplied water by a town-owned and operated water supply system. And whereas the town has full power under RCW 35.92.010 to regulate and control the use and distribution of water from the town's water supply system. And whereas unrestricted water used for non-essential purposes during water emergencies will endanger the adequacy of the water supply for essential needs. And whereas compliance with said restrictions or bans shall be encouraged by imposition of monetary penalties for water usage of authorized usage during an emergency. And whereas the town will incur additional costs to maintain water supply during periods of emergency, and monetary penalties imposed upon customers who exceed restrictions will offset such costs. And whereas the town council recognizes the critical importance of an immediate response by the town in the event of any water supply emergency, and to provide this response, the mayor and water operator or his/her designee shall be granted limited authority to declare a water shortage emergency and implement water usage restrictions or bans. Now therefore be it resolved that the Town Council of Lynn, Adams County, Washington proclaims that effective immediately a ban on all lawn watering, both residential and commercial, to preserve the town's water supply. Be it further resolved that the implementation of a watering ban will preserve the water supply for public health and safety. Be it further resolved that the implementation of a watering ban will preserve the water supply for fire protection. Be it further resolved that the below penalties shall be enforced as violations of the ban described within. Domestic water users, whether residential or commercial, first violation of this resolution by a person shall be a civil infraction for which no penalty shall be imposed. Rather, for first-time violations, the mayor, public works, water operator, or his or her designee shall issue a written warning to the responsible party. A second violation of this resolution by the same person shall be a civil infraction for which a fine of $250 may be imposed. After a written warning has been issued, each day's violation of any provision of this resolution shall constitute a separate offense and shall subject the offender to the above penalties for each offense. Authority to disconnect customers during a water shortage emergency. Public Works personnel is authorized to prevent the depletion of town potable water by cutting off service to any water customer violating this resolution after having served a notice of infraction on said customer. B, the Public Works personnel is further authorized to enter upon property of a customer who has violated this resolution after first making reasonable efforts to contact the owner or person responsible for such premises and disconnect their property from the town water supply during any declared water shortage emergency. Once the water shortage emergency ends, the Public Works personnel must reconnect the property to the town water supply. The customer responsible for the property shall be responsible for all expenses incurred by the town to reconnect the property to the town water supply. The town is authorized to pursue legal action to collect these costs if not paid by the customer within 30 days of being delivered with a bill detailing the expenses incurred to reconnect their property to the town water supply. And background, you have already been under, and this was, I took this last year, I just changed the date, effective June 25th of 2022, the voluntary water curtailment issued. Also, then later, it's August 1st. It was under that, please cooperate by not watering your lawns until further notice. And now we are in a situation of what the council has to go with here. And
Is Steve still on the line?
yes.
Again, I want to just ask and address the question. What do we do with our dry lawns when fire starts?
I have been told by the fire marshal from Othello that mowing your lawns, getting rid of your bushes from around your houses, if you have, just a minute, and trim them down. If you have a low lawn, it will not flare up and move fast like a taller lawn. So that was what he said to me today.
And one more part of that. What about people who are growing their food?
Yeah.
That's perfectly fine because that's a garden.
We can water our gardens.
Yeah, it's just the lawn.
Okay.
Okay.
I have a question with all of this. Are you throwing out the ordinances that, our property is a nuisance because of the weeds and material that is on there? When we can't do anything, I mean, if we were to go over there and mow that, that is a fire risk. Without any water in sight, what do we do? I don't wanna be fined, nor do I wanna lien against my property.
It's all workable, and, when the notice went out, then that should have been addressed as soon as possible. So,
Well, I think anybody would wanna address. Or answer.
Bye.
I just want to say that the monetary part of that, I think is steep. We're all having a really hard time anyway with inflation and everything that's going on. Everything's higher than it ever used to be. And I don't like that $250 charge. And that's just my own personal thing. I'm not asking you anything else about it. I just am really in disagreement about that.
The language from this was, compiled with the help of Othello. So, okay, oh, I see hands.
Those two forms that you just had up there, how were those conveyed to every home in the town?
This was always on the door, on the town door, this one, it's on the outside door.
So,
And
do
this
people
one-
always come to town hall and read something on the town hall door?
I guess not,
Well, you send out a bill every month, maybe you could
I could
print
have,
it up and
yeah.
send it in the bills?
yeah.
And then that smaller one, what is that?
This right here was, supposed to have been to everybody after your complaint,
Okay.
everyone.
I did hear a rumor that the south side didn't get that.
I didn't get one.
I didn't even.
Neither did I.
And somebody said there was language stating that the north side reservoir, is used by the north side of town and the south side used by the south side of town. When both wells work together and mix and balance each other out and create pressure?
That is true.
Okay,
Both wells work together.
okay, well, people were reading something that looked
I
like
don't
it was
have
just a north side. Did you send those letters to people on the south side of town?
This says, well 7 north of town needs arrest, so the majority, I would assume maybe it has been running nonstop so the majority would have been off of north of town. So maybe.
Did you
No,
have those
I'm
delivered
saying-
to south side of town?
I assumed that they did, I don't know, I did not follow up. Okay,
well,
it's my fault, I am so sorry.
thank you, the buck stops with you.
Yes,
That
it
is
does.
right. If
Yes,
you
it
don't know,
does.
say, I don't know.
And
That's
I-
enough, we're not getting anything settled by going back and forth.
So,
Take the time to
My
understand
whole
what's going on
point-
right this minute.
my
Okay.
whole
What that is
point-
a water emergency.
Would you stop interrupting me? I
You're
have the
interrupting.
floor at the moment.
Well, I think the frustration is that we ask the questions and nobody really wants to answer. I've heard her ask the same question 3 times and nobody's answered, so she keeps going back at her, and then you're frustrated because she's going back at her when she won't answer the damn question.
Okay,
So,
maybe I
My
keep going
point,
with
can
you.
can I just do my
I
point?
said, may I
The
keep
whole
going?
point of this is, I don't know about these forms. What is the town gonna do to communicate better to everybody? I know that when I was mayor, we put into operation an emergency call line. We got everybody's phone numbers, and if there was an emergency or if you needed to contact people, that it would go to everybody in town, which would have
That
been
you had phone
useful.
numbers for.
Yes,
Yes.
which would have been really useful in the fire and with these water things so that everybody gets it. And the garbage truck that you called me to tell me was early, well,
We've asked for phone numbers for emergencies, and we received a half of
okay.
a response.
I'm saying that in the past, the town council voted and we did all the work and entered in all the names and numbers. And it was supposed to be an automatic thing. You just called up the number and you left a message, just like the school does. And then it went to everybody that wanted to be on the list. What happened to that? Because letters obviously on the town board and delivered to some homes doesn't let everybody know what's going on. And if it's really, really important, like this obviously is, do you have any ideas? Does the council have any ideas on how you reach everybody? Before you start finding them and shutting their water off.
All of the phone numbers. I don't think we have all of the town phone numbers. We've requested them,
If you have a city
Some
bill, it
people
should be
respond and
required
some
you
don't.
have a phone number listed for emergency, even with 911. If you're paying a water, sewer, and garbage bill, you should have a phone number, a residential
The people
phone
should
number.
give the phone number if it's not listed in the book. How do you get it if we don't get it from them?
So when you go in and they pay their bills, you come in.
When cell
put
numbers are
notices
turned off
Should be
or
required.
house numbers are given and turned off. We have done our best to try to get emergency numbers from people, and they're just not giving it to us. Since I've been in office, we have tried to get emergency numbers, and only half of the residents have responded. I've put out surveys, and people just don't respond.
So my question was to Paula and to the council. Do you guys have any ideas on how you can better reach everybody? You know, almost everybody. I know it's impossible to reach everybody every time. But do you guys have any ideas, or does anybody here have ideas?
Just notification on the door. I never got anything.
I didn't either.
I'm chock full of ideas.
I have a question.
So as far as the phone number goes, why not send out letters quarterly? Because we get new people in town all the time. I don't remember the last time I was requested to have a phone number sent to the town. So you get all these new people, and how are they going to know? So send it out quarterly,
When
once a
they-
month with their bill, and request their phone number be entered in and give the reason why you would like their phone
When they
number.
sign up for the water, the services, the garbage, the sewer, whatever it is, when they do a new account, then we ask their number. So a new person does have that.
But, you know, they might not want it then, they could change their mind later on down the road. So doing a quarterly thing, just to remind people,
Yeah.
hey, this is a service we can provide.
Okay, guys. I would like to have just the 3 hands that are up, and then that's it. Okay? Mr. Rich?
Well, I have a comment, a couple of comments, and then I'll follow up with a question. In a conversation with Mr. Underberg, who's fairly soft-spoken, he's concerned because he said it well, we've all invested deeply in making our yards work. If they die this year, it's just devastating. For me, and I'm communicating that because he's not gonna call you and say anything. But we likewise have worked for years. If people saw our yard when we got there, it was weeds. And I'm not unique in that, it was, but, you know, we stopped watering our yards in the deepest part of this, and I understand the emergency, that's not that I don't understand. When the tree dies, then we cut down the tree, then we have less shade, when we have less shade, we lose more water watering our yard. My question is, why is it that the first time that we find out about something is when someone walks to our house and says, stop watering your yard? We get a water bill every single month. We get communications about other things that seem to make it into our mailbox from the city. Why is it that we didn't start in June with let's conserve? You know,
You did.
and from, where? On the city hall door?
Yes.
On the city hall door?
Yeah.
We don't
That's
know
how
that.
it- Okay, all right, point taken.
How many people here go to the
Point-
city hall?
Point taken.
I mean, we get other communications from the city in the mail. So it's not that you don't know that it does, that there's a effective way, it's that you haven't chosen. And now we're in an emergency because we haven't communicated.
I've also seen notices on the post office door and on the bulletin, town bulletin.
Yeah.
Okay, I've got the last hand. Anna?
Actually, Denise has been.
Oh,
please.
Your ordinance doesn't have a real definition of what the emergency is or what ends the emergency. And I don't know that it's legal to disconnect someone's water because they're watering. For non-payment, it's legal according to your ordinances. You need to talk to your attorney about whether you can disconnect for a violation of that type of thing. And you have to put the definitions in there, otherwise this is just at your whim, and I don't think that's
No, I
right.
think it's stated, but it's up there.
What are the parameters for ending it then?
What does end it?
Where did I read?
Once the water shortage emergency ends, the public works personnel must reconnect the property to water supply.
What does
Well,
that
that's
mean?
if somebody, that's if somebody's disconnected though, right?
Yeah, you're right.
But what does it mean anyway? What is the definition of the ending of the water shortage? That's at somebody's whim.
And it says it's at your discretion.
Not just mine,
No, I mean,
Yeah.
the cities.
yeah.
I'm not pointing fingers.
I'm not taking them.
Anna, you had one?
Yeah, Anna.
The language that I'm hearing with that resolution, it's actually taking all of the control away from the council and giving it to the town, which there is a separation. I don't think that's quite right. It shouldn't be at the sole discretion of the town or whoever's running the water system, that it belongs with the council and their final say. So that resolution to me takes all the power away from the council and gives it to the town. And I don't think that's right. That's what I heard in that resolution, that it takes basically the council's power. They don't have the right to say what's an emergency. You can act without their approval.
In emergency, I do believe that within contact, which I did contact with the council on the emergency banning of that. So that right there, just
Well, it's
like
supposed to be
when,
done in a public meeting, because it's supposed to be done with the public in attendance, and
In
it's
an
supposed to be public
emergency?
knowledge.
in emergency,
Meeting.
just like when the governor did his, what was it, proclamation of emergency for the COVID, that didn't have to have, it was just an automatic. So
But you're
that's
not
where
the
that-
governor.
No, I'm saying that's when the governor directed all mayors of the towns. So, I don't know.
Okay, well, still, the resolution wording basically takes control away from the council, from my knowledge of words and what you read.
So you haven't contacted your attorney at all?
Yes,
on
we
this?
have. I would like to read to you a section of the Water Ordinance 0303, so that was in 2003. Imposition of water usage restrictions. The council shall have the right to forbid and/or establish certain specific hours for lawn and garden sprinkling and other non-essential uses of water within the whole or specified parts of the town when there is an actual or impending water shortage, extreme pressure loss in the distribution system, or for any other reasonable cause. The council may at any time determine such rules and/or restrictions to be necessary, and after notification by posting thereof, may enforce the same. Upon notice of violation of any such rule or restriction, the water may be shut off to the premises of the violator without further notice and shall not be turned on again until the owner or occupant of the premises has agreed to comply with the rules and/or restrictions and has paid to the town all charges for service. Any such consumption of water shall be charged at double the water rate established by council. So that was back in 2003. So it's following along the way. That was ordinance, water
But that
ordinance.
still allows
That's a
council
totally
to
different
say.
ordinance.
Well,
It's
yeah,
totally
but
different.
Yeah, it
built
is.
on that, so,
No, you
you
took the
do
power
abolish
away
that.
from the council.
No,
the council, if the council says, yes, we're gonna go with this, they're actually saying that we're going to give up that right to control and we're gonna give it to the mayor.
Yep, that's what it says.
The other one is fine. The council gets together, the council makes decisions, the council, they turn it back on when the person agrees. The new proposed council says that the water service is restored when the emergency is over. Those are very different. You've taken power vested in you as the council and are handing it to a single person.
Yep.
That's not what we voted for.
No, it's not.
A resolution of the town council is the first 6 words of this.
I
It
understand
doesn't matter what
that.
the first 5 or 6 are.
Goes further down with the town.
Now she's skipping
And
parts.
then, no, I'm just, you got, and then it has to have mayor, water operator, or their designee. So
Yeah,
it's
the
not
mayor,
just
the
the
water
mayor.
operator, or designee, that is not the council.
Okay, point taken.
Can we move on?
Well, before you pass anything, the wording needs to be changed.
Very different wording.
That would be up to, if you don't want to,
If you wanna give
Yeah,
all the power
yeah.
to
I
her, do
suggest
it.
to get past this, we table it for tonight. What do you think, Chris?
I say mine with you right there, but I would say we table this for the minimum of 3 weeks till Laura gets back
Okay.
and Mike is present.
Well, we need to do something.
And also, this is what I'd like to make a motion, that S&J Environmental come to the next meeting and give us a full speech on what's going on with the wells.
that's further down the line.
A second opinion, basically.
Okay, but we're not under contract.
That's on the agenda for later.
No, we're not in the contract, but I mean, he can go and assess what's actually, I didn't get that one, did I?
You should have.
But we need him here at the next meeting for sure.
So you're hiring him now?
No, I
Oh,
want him to
okay.
come to the town,
Okay,
give us a second opinion on the wells that have not been maintained properly.
okay,
Now, I'm
so,
familiar with Steve's figures on them, 550, 750 gallons per minute, it's been like that for about the last 7 or 8 years. So all of a sudden, they're still at those figures, but we're gonna get water bank. And I'm not agreeing with that at all until we have the whole council together and we can talk about it as one, perhaps with the town lawyer, because of implications.
okay,
That's my opinion.
it's been tabled, I guess.
Well,
The
let's get
thing,
it done.
okay, the thing is, with no cooperation from the town, it's not proving to the agencies that we are really in need of funding.
That's what this whole thing is about. If we get
Okay,
proof
So
we're
it's
dire.
really not.
So
it's
I
finished.
have a question. So where's the funding that you used to sell the water? Can any of that be used to have some resources brought in or do something for them? Where's the money that we used to sell the water that we didn't have to sell in the first place? Where's that money to help out?
Well,
How much was it?
trickled, I don't know the exact.
Can you give me
numbers.
those numbers? I'd like to know what that is. Because that should be a substantial amount, I mean, that's why we did it, right? So that should be something that could be help putting the
And
pump
as
back
it-
in.
As it carried on and people did not pay for their water, maybe that's where some of that.
Oh, come on, Paula, seriously?
What about the $78,000 grant?
I mean, you're wanting everybody here to buckle down and do the right thing, and I came and hammered and hammered and hammered you and begged you. I did everything. I said, Paula, I'll get down on my knees and beg you to stop these trucks. You are making a huge mistake. We do not have water to give away like this. No one else would do it. You snubbed me and walked off. You lied to me about the airline that was in that well. Jossamy and Dave were standing right there, and you told me that they went and checked it. There's no way to check the airline in that well.
No.
They stood there, both of those guys, they're gone now, but they both stood there and told me that. So I guess my point is that there's some frustration here, because you're asking everybody else to step up and do something that you wouldn't do, because it was for dollars. But now you want everybody to lose their lawns and all of this other stuff, and I guess where's all this money that came in then? Where's that money to help them now? Where was that money to help me then? I think that there needs to be an explanation there. That's pretty significant.
Mayor, it's the 2003 ordinance. The 2003 ordinance that you read earlier gives all the authority and all the evidence. All the council needs to do is get together and make the water restrictions.
Yep.
It's already authorized. You don't need to invest everything in you, because obviously that's reaching a lot of resistance. The council needs to make a decision, because that code is already passed. That's already there.
So, okay, so council with, your water ordinance 0303, it's already here. It's already in the works for that. So I guess I will take, under your instructions to, enforce that.
Well, if this resolution is going to help us get grants or loans, then I suggest that we pass this resolution, 2206.
You just tabled it.
You just tabled it,
Well,
you can't
You
do
can't
that.
table it without
I
a
want
vote.
the other
All right,
council members
tabling
there. I
is
do, I want
tabling,
a
it's
meeting
done.
with the council members
It's
there.
done.
That's what I'm requesting. I'll
Tabling
make.
is done.
Okay,
That's all about the board. There's too many implications when you go into it. I've talked to food professionals, okay, today. I've talked to quite a few, and we need someone else in to get a second opinion. This needs to be tabled to Mike and Laura here. We can have the lawyer and have a discussion.
And in the,
Okay,
You know, we can't go off willy-nilly, one water and one don't. We've got to come with resolution.
Okay.
All of us.
the resolution is tabled. Ordinance, 0303, right? Okay. I make a motion that we enforce that ordinance.
I second it.
and that was alternating addresses, odd address, odd day. Would you read that again, please?
No, I will not.
So
It does
it's
not
already
say
stated.
anything about any addresses. The addresses were in my little speech.
Well, I think that's a
Okay.
good idea,
So if-
alternate
if-
addresses.
If we have, the following of 0303, then, the council shall have the right to forbid and/or establish certain specific hours for lawn and garden sprinkling and other non-essential uses of, water within the whole or specified parts of the town when there is an actual or impending water shortage, extreme pressure loss in distribution system, or for any other reasonable cause. The council may at any time determine such rules and/or restrictions to be necessary, and after notification by posting thereof, may enforce the same. Upon notice of violation of any such rule or restriction, the water may be shut off to the premises of the violator without further notice, and shall not be turned on again until the owner or occupant of the premises has agreed to comply with the rules and/or restrictions and has paid to the town all charges for service. Any such consumption of water shall be charged at double the water rate established by council. So there's a motion, going along with or enforcing the,
Enforcing the
0303, and it's been seconded. All in favor, say aye.
What restrictions?
think you
You
should
didn't specify the
define it?
restriction.
Well, they have, the council has to specify.
There's a motion on the table, you need to stop.
I just said second.
Can't be seconded if it's already been motioned.
Well, he made a motion, didn't he?
A motion to do what, though, you guys?
The motion to
What
enforce
is the-
Okay,
ordinance.
let's back up.
What is the restriction you're
03.
imposing?
Okay, let's back up. Establish certain specific hours for lawn and garden sprinkling. Okay, that right there. And other non-essential uses of water within the whole or specified parts of town. When there is an actual or impending water shortage, extreme pressure loss in the distribution system or for any other reasonable cause. Okay? The council may at any time determine such rules and/or restrictions to be necessary.
So what are you restricting?
Yeah.
But it's essential.
Showers.
I mean,
Showers, drinking.
Yeah, I would say drinking, showers.
What are you restricting?
Livestock.
Well, since during the day you're watering air,
What?
I said, since the day you're watering air in the first place.
Yeah, that air could be also from
Jim's
a
got the
pump that's
floor.
too big.
No, I'm talking about you are
Evaporates.
literally throwing water out to the air and letting it evaporate.
Yeah, water it in the morning, in the evening. But yeah, I definitely don't think there should be no ban on water until we've all discussed it properly.
Well,
And I
Well-
want that for the record, you know.
Okay.
Mr.
Mr.
Mike's not there, Roy's
Aye.
not there, you know.
I
we
understand.
have a quorum.
We have a quorum of 3 people, so, but in answer to your question, if we set up something, then, say like watering 4 to 6 in the morning, on setting it up with the, people with the odd number addresses on one day, the even numbered addresses on the other. Okay? Then, also at night, 9 to 11, and the same thing applies.
Yeah, I mean, I think people need to water their lawns. I don't think
Okay.
they need to have dry grass, you know,
All right,
which is
the
a
only-
fire hazard as it is, really.
I have a problem if my house is gonna catch fire because everybody needs to water their lawns, that's their discretion.
See,
Okay,
there's
I haven't
another way.
had water to water my yard since March 9th. All right? I've been living in a motel since that time. I'm still living there. And folks, let me tell you, it's not a barrel of laughs for anybody.
Well, I didn't have water for a very long time either, and we were pumping it out and sending it down the road, and nobody would listen to me then either. My cows
Okay,
didn't have
I'm
water.
just saying that
My yard didn't have
this
water.
is a modification to the ordinance. Now, if you people find that unacceptable, so be it. It is going to be done that
So,
way.
Repeat your
Until
restriction.
we get out of the fire danger.
Repeat.
You
what
people
your-
realize how close we are to a total town catastrophe?
Yeah, I sat on the
We're about
phone
that
and brought
step.
you to city council.
Okay, that's not good. What are you gonna do?
Yes, I do. I spoke and said that. I said that on the phone. I said, what happens when we have a drought? What happens when we have a fire? You guys are selling hundreds of thousands and thousands and thousands of, I have pictures of the water logs of how many gallons of water went out of here. I said all of these things. Do you know what you guys told me? You said hook onto city water. Oh, look where that would have got us, right? What would that have gained? We didn't have the water to move out. We
Okay.
didn't have it.
But
For
I'm dealing
years
with
and
the
years and
situation now,
years.
not 2 years ago.
Yes, for years. You just were talking about a water ordinance from 03. Where the hell did that come from? Because we've been dealing with this forever. And we sold all of that water, and now you're upset because we don't have any.
I'm not upset. I just know that,
I'm upset. Well, if you're not upset, that's on you. But I think everybody else is probably upset.
okay, what are you going to do when the fire breaks out and there's no water?
That's exactly what I asked you a year ago.
Okay.
What are we gonna do?
This is now, that was then.
Yeah, I know, I had a fire. Couldn't even turn on a sprinkler. I had absolutely no water. I didn't even have time to go fill up a water truck. I was this close to losing everything, my house, my family, my cattle, everything. And I sat there and begged and talked to you guys, and you just brushed it off like it was no big deal. And now here we are. That's the part that frustrates me, is we make mistakes every single day. I make them every day. But not one time have you guys went, damn it, we shouldn't have done that, we'll own it. You just keep brushing it off like, well, it didn't really affect it, and well, this and this, and now here we are. And now you expect all of these people to do exactly what I've asked you to do, and you won't do it. You're asking the same thing of them that I begged and begged and begged.
Go ahead.
I just want to say, first of all, I like the alternate day idea, but I also would want, and I don't really have a huge problem with the no watering, but I think we should answer the question of what constitutes the end of it, which would be whether it's static well level or gallons per minute. There should be some sort of number that says, okay, now we're okay, now we're gonna ease up or whatever. I do like your every other day idea. I'm not arguing that at all, but
And I don't know what the magic level would be, but that's what Mr. Nelson and Joe Pasuti is.
they're working on that.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's been going on for springtime.
If the number's been like 500, say 550 to 750 gallons per minute for the past, I don't know how many years, because I used to check the numbers on that well. That's not really dropped a lot below that, below 500.
Yeah,
So
2014
why
to
now is that classed
22.
as an emergency? And the well's been in that state in the first place because they're not getting the proper maintenance. That's without doubt. They're neglected, the whole town is neglected. I can go on and on and on, there's weeds everywhere, there's no gravel spread, the alleyways ain't looked after, the sewers aren't flushed. The hydrants aren't tested once a month, which they should be. Fire, yeah, oh, this one ain't working, that's too late. This town needs to be sorted out, it does, and it needs the proper guidance, I think, I really do. I mean, that's me being outdoors, like, you know, I'm dedicated to the water, not enough information and not enough tools.
It's not even being defined.
Okay. Can you listen to what Barbara's gonna read and then confirm?
Okay.
Why?
I believe that Councilmember Jim Dorshak said that odd houses are allowed to water on odd days, and even houses are allowed to water on even days from 4 to 6 a.m. and 6 to 9 p.m. only, until we get out of fire danger.
9 to 11.
9 to 11.
Oh, 9 to 11, thank you for the correction. 9 to 11 p.m.
That's reasonable.
Somebody has their hand raised, guys.
Myra seconded, Robert opposes.
So, that motion carried.
All right.
What,
How is it gonna be
what do you,
communicated?
what's the, you've got a motion on the table, but it hasn't been dealt with. So, what happened with that? Did somebody else get another one, or? No?
Well, I heard that Myra made a second, but I didn't hear you call for the vote.
Yeah, there's a motion on the table that needs to be taken care of, either withdrawn or
Did she say second?
voted on.
And that was to,
Myra seconded.
Yeah.
To endorse or
was to endorse
And
0303 and
And
do away
oppose.
with
Motion
2206.
carried.
Motion carried.
No, it wasn't voted on.
Yes,
Yeah,
actually it was.
Oh, we
He
didn't hear
opposed.
that.
Made a motion.
No, they're talking about the 0303 one,
Yeah.
to impose that and do away with the.
2206.
With the specific, what is established.
Specific
Right.
Yeah.
Wasn't the motion to endorse that ordinance?
0303 and do away with 2206. That was the first motion that got overlooked. Jim, am I wrong? You said, I move we endorse 0303, we go back to that one and do away
Right.
with 2206. That was the first motion I heard on the table.
Well, 2206 was tabled.
Yes, so I didn't include that. and
Okay,
just-
then we came up with 0303,
Yeah,
and
Added
as
to-
Barbara read what I said, to confirm that the hours of watering and when and who could water on which
yeah,
times.
but the motion, the actual first motion was to endorse that
Three
ordinance.
oh three.
0303, right?
I thought it was impose restrictions, and that's why the questions came out, because they didn't specify
Well,
what the
Barbara
restriction.
should have it. What was the motion?
The motion was that odd houses can water on
No,
odd days.
Before that,
Before that.
there
It
was
was
a
to
motion.
uphold
The motion to enforce ordinance
There you go.
0303.
There you go. That was on the table first, yeah.
Right, and then the specifics for the odd houses watering on odd days, it's all one motion.
Okay.
It's one motion.
And
And Myra seconded,
Okay. but then-
Robert opposed, motion carried.
No, nobody voted.
Yes, they did
Yes, we
vote.
did.
You guys were just talking.
No, we weren't. We've been listening.
Okay.
Okay, Darla Shaver was talking.
Okay, motion is, on where are we?
Ordinance 0303.
Okay, ordinance 0303 is to be enforced, right?
Yes,
Okay, and,
to restrict the water.
to have certain specific hours to, water, for watering lawns, and,
Odd houses.
odd houses to be on odd days and even houses to be on even days. The actual numbers is 4 to 6 in the morning and 9 to 11 at night only, until we get out of fire danger. So when's out of fire danger, I don't know, but, all in favor, say aye.
There we go.
Aye.
That's what we've been waiting for.
And, any opposed? Okay, so there it is, okay.
That's what we.
That's it.
Does that work?
Yeah, that works.
Okay, so, item B, Kramer sewer, Mr. Nelson, are you still there?
No, he's asleep.
He's on mute. Okay, so what, I will get with you tomorrow to, follow up on the numbers and, some of the other questions that were brought up. Do you have, okay. We did not, totally ban, so I will get with you when, FEMA gets a hold of me, okay?
Yes, I heard the alternating shut-off dates, and, look forward to hearing back about EOD, and, yeah, talk to you tomorrow.
Okay, thank you, sir.
You bet, thank you, folks.
Bye. Item B on your agenda, Kramer sewer repairs approval. It's a courtesy update. The digging has begun. You can see the documents there, and the actual map that Basin provided. And there's nothing to go with other than give your blessing of go ahead. So do you want to accept their plans?
Want to make a motion, we accept?
Okay.
I second it.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to accept Kramer's sewer maps and quotes from Basin. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And any opposed? Motion carries. Item C is a violation letter. You can see, council, that that is just been, what's been sent, and we are waiting for communication back at this time. So that's just for your knowledge, timelines.
Paula, a quick question, is that the first or second violation letter?
Second.
The second, okay. Thank you.
Yes. Second. Okay, item D, CJ environmental follow-up
Steve.
That's okay, sorry. The follow-up memos, council, you have that copy?
I believe so, somewhere.
Okay, it's from Sam Sneed. He presented at the council meeting last week, so this was a week ago.
2 weeks ago.
Wanted to follow up with you all on any questions that you may have, so do you have any questions? Maybe you all could go over the scope of work that he provided, so you'll have to bring up your sheet that he gave you. And let us know if there is anything in the scope that you don't need. That way, his partner and himself can write up a proposal to give you a cost breakdown of our services. Let me know. So, you've already thrown that on the table, so do you want to take that and go through that?
Yeah, certainly, yeah. I think that's a must.
Okay. Can you have that to me by Thursday? Okay. Because then that way it'll be for the weekend.
We have had a good talk with it, so.
Okay.
Excuse me, was that something, is that the same thing that you were talking about earlier? You made a motion, you started
Yes,
to have him come and speak?
Come and do like a second evaluation on the wells. I mean, I know we got an engineer, and we have what's name there, but I think that's not enough. I want second opinions. I don't know about the other council members, but being familiar with that well, I don't think the problem's that big.
So is this gentleman gonna appear like at a council
He
meeting?
was at the last meeting, so.
Okay. Yeah, I'm sorry, my air conditioning broke just before the meeting, so.
Okay, we have, that set up for this,
Yeah, I believe he's coming with his partner too, so.
Are they gonna come and present at that meeting?
Yes.
So he's gonna check things out, London, and then come to the next meeting?
Yeah, when I talked to him and his partner, I said we want a breakdown and perhaps even where we don't have to pay any money, like a quote on what that would cost to fix the well, how that's running. You know, I mean, we have a lady down the sewer plant. Sorry, she's not doing her job. What we paying for? She got fired from 2 towns.
and I would like to have proof of that, please.
I've got proof.
I want it.
Yeah,
Okay,
so, yeah.
because
And I mean,
you
there's
can't
another
make
thing is-
blatant statements like that,
I wouldn't
okay?
do that.
Okay,
Do that.
all right.
This has come from sort of high
Okay,
up.
so I
London?
need to have that because I don't want to have someone not be good.
I know, she offered me a job down there for $35 an hour because she needed my expertise. I mean, that's weird.
No, she just needed extra hands.
I have a question.
We have, hand up, and we need to have other people be quiet so that that question can be heard. Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Well, London, didn't Sam say that the Department of Ecology and the Department of Commerce sent him to us
Yes, yeah.
because they felt that it would be a good
That we
idea?
needed the help, yes. So
Well,
we did.
And he was just making his rounds in all the other towns, so.
I have
Okay.
a question, who's us?
Who's us? What did I say?
You said sent to us.
To the town of Lynn.
Town.
Well, when you said us, I wasn't sure what you were talking about.
I know, you thought I was a group
Okay, we're
the other
not
day,
gonna do
too.
back and forth, back and forth. New business is, building permits. You have one from Evelyn Braden, installing a patio cover.
I make a motion, we accept that building permit.
I second that motion.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to, approve or, issue a building permit to Evelyn Braden for her project. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And any opposed? Okay, motion carries.
I'm sorry.
Another,
Can I
building
please
permit?
just ask one question?
Why? You are
Because
interrupting.
You are putting everybody's private business out at council meetings, and is it bigger than 200 square feet?
It's
Because
attached to
you
the
have
house,
no say if it's less than 200 square feet.
Okay,
People
I
could
will
put
ask
buildings.
Evelyn first, okay?
Okay.
All right.
It says 166 square feet.
So it's less than 200 square feet. It's not required for a permit.
She's got other things that she's gonna be doing, so. Second, application is, Quentin Wallace. His application for sewer service.
Merlin?
His picture or map, site map is attached.
I make a motion to accept sewer application.
I second the motion.
It's moved and seconded to approve the application for, Mr. Wallace. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, all right, so I've alluded to, FEMA several times. Council, you have a copy of the email sent to Sheriff Wagner, Kevin Staring, Lynn's fire chief, the Adams County Commissioners, and myself. And it states, and this is coming from Sandy Duffy out of Othello's office. It states that FEMA authorizes funds to fight land fire in, Washington. The Federal Emergency Management Agency, now I got hiccups, FEMA, authorized the use of federal funds to help with firefighting costs for the land fire burning in Washington. The state of Washington's request for a federal fire management assistant grant, and the initials are FMAG, was approved by FEMA Region 10 Administrator Willie G. Nunn on Thursday, the 4th of August at 5:58 p.m. Pacific Time. He determined that the Lynn fire threatened to cause such destruction as would constitute a major disaster. This is the first FMAG declared in 2022 to help fight Washington firefights, or wildfires. At the time of the state's request, the wildfire threatened homes in and around the community of Lynn. The fire also threatened critical communications and infrastructure, well water access, a railway along US 395, 2 public schools, and the Lynn Municipal Airport. FMAGs are provided through the President's Disaster Relief Fund and are made available by FEMA to assist in fighting fires that threaten to cause a major disaster. Eligible items can include expenses for field camps, equipment use, repair and replacement, mobilization and demobilization activities, and tools, materials, and supplies. This authorization makes FEMA funding available to pay 75% of the state's eligible firefighting costs under an approved grant for managing, mitigating, and controlling designated fires. These grants do not provide assistance to individual home or business owners and do not cover other infrastructure damage caused by the fire. So I will be, like I said, meeting with the FEMA representative, and I'm hoping that Mr. Nelson will be available possibly one of the commissioners will be, in that meeting on Thursday.
On Thursday?
Yes. The emergency agencies are working on getting an alert system up and running, just like the Amber Alerts for the Adams County. Also, evacuation routes will become part of the system. So all of that is coming out of the Lynn fire. Council, just so that you know, I have given Steve Farrow and Tony Gwynn the okay to have an RV trailer to live in while they are under construction at their property site. Might be 2 years, Steve says. Fifth Street project will be starting sometime in August, and notices will be going out when that actually gets finalized. And council, for next meeting, CDSI contract, I believe I have it on yellow paper for you. Okay, it's gonna be presented next meeting, so look that over and bring all your comments at that time.
Paul, let me ask, what is CBSI?
That's your garbage company.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
If you're granting a variance to Steve and Tony, that needs to be voted on by council. Because the ordinance says you can't live in a trailer, so they need to grant them a variance, but it needs to be voted on.
Okay. Is there a motion for Steve and Tony to have a variance?
A motion, we grant a variance for Steve and Tony.
And I second it.
Okay, moved and seconded for the variance for Steve and Tony for the RV. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And any opposed? Okay, thanks for that correction. We have a return to the agenda for the Finance Committee, please.
Excuse me a moment. While I gather my papers up. Am I right? Okay, I make a motion that we approve the warrant check register dated 7/26/2022 to 8/08/2022 in the amount of $40,779.59.
I second the motion.
56, correction, 56.
I'm sorry?
56?
Yes, 56.
Okay. Sorry.
What was the amount? I'm sorry, I missed it.
In the amount of $40,779.56.
Okay, got a second. Okay.
I second.
Moved and seconded to approve the warrant register July 26th to August 8th of 2022 in the dollar amount $40,779.56. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And any opposed? Motion carries.
And I make a motion to pay the outstanding invoices from,
Oh, I was wrong. July 24th.
7/24 to 8/3 in the amount of $11,380.16.
I second it.
Okay, moved and seconded to approve the outstanding invoices from July 24th to August 3rd of 2022 for $11,380.16. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, Mike.
council, comments and concerns, Robert?
I don't know whether I should open my mouth. I mean, I can say I'm, what I hear about the town, it's disgusting. It really is. I don't know why our town isn't being maintained. There's weeds all over the place. You know, I keep saying, there's no gravel spread, there's no alleyway clean. Sewers not being done. I mean, when can we consider this being done? We have 3 good employees up there. Right? But, really, I'd like to know why none of this is being done anymore.
Well, they are doing other projects, so I don't know how to answer your timeline.
Well, I think they should have some guidance on what they should be doing around town in the correct manner, For a start, we need alleyways graded. They need to be graded. We definitely know the sewers need to be flushed, and that would help us spray some weeds in town because they're spreading all over the place. Also test the fire hydrants. We have 2 or 3 that are not even working. It'd be nothing worse than a fireman go in there, connect up the holes and find out, this one don't work because it hasn't been exercised once a month or whatever. You're supposed to run it once a month, let the water shoot. Keep the valves open, keep it clean, keep it free. None of that's being done.
Fire hydrants are covered, the fire department to take care of.
No, we've always taken care of them. I used to do it with Joss and we regular once a month. All fire hydrants tested with a special gauge, flow meter and everything once a month.
You're right as well, because the fire department would come up there at the school and do that, so possibly both of you are right.
I think that taking interest to account, if our employees could be guided in that direction to take better care of the town, let's not keep doing better, it's going downhill all the time, every
And
day.
like I said, there's other projects that have taken precedence.
I can't see why. What will take 3 employees' time up, where they can't string, pick up weeds,
Well,
spread
we've
weeds,
got
spread gravel?
a water leak that's taken up a whole week of trying to figure out where it is and how to get it all done up there at Clarence.
Have we put the
So-
meters in?
Yes, we have.
Who was it that installed?
Who installed them?
Yes, yeah, was it
Stephen?
a town employee?
Yeah.
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 Okay, so that's
Yeah.
good, I mean, that's the start. Then we got the thing with the misleading of it, it's because of the electronic control.
And that'll be ongoing until we get with,
Zach.
Zach and,
See, that was another point I had, right? Zach's been coming there for 4, 5 years, when Jamie was there. He's not solved anything, yet we still keep paying him, we still have the same.
no, there's a lot of meters.
I know how many
And
meters there is.
we've got, the coordination between the computer in the office, the computer, the handheld, and then the actual meter. Not every meter has that, capability, you know all that.
I know, what about the digital meter, the handheld meter? Because I mean, are we reading meters now with the electronics in the truck?
As much as we can, yes, and not all of them show up on that handheld. Which we don't know why. If the address says this, the handheld does not give this, the meter reading is not gonna coordinate with that handheld. So it's all we don't know when they were, if they were installed, they were, what's that called, calibrated correctly. So way back when you were they calibrated correctly? We're finding out that they aren't. And that's why those are not communicating with the office.
So
It's a big headache.
Thing to recalibrate the ones we do have and then putting them back out there. So perhaps we have a better working system.
Exactly, but it all takes time. Point taken and everything, but, it's the sewer, we've got the material to flush and everything, but then we got something else going on and
I know.
Stepped inside.
I can drive around town and I can go, wow, this is disgusting.
And
Why
we had,
isn't this being done?
we had the wet spring, excess, weeds, you know, and we've gotten tagged, we've gotten that taken care of.
I have a question, about some of the houses around town. So like, some of them that have bugs and cockroaches and stuff like that, whose job, I guess, is that Department of Health that's supposed to come in and like deal with that, or is that something that the town is supposed to deal with? I mean, who decides that?
Health department.
Yeah, you could start with the health department if you have bugs and start with that.
I just know that there was a house here in town who was severely bad infested, and I know that another family moved in, and now, you know, it's been kind of a revolving door.
And it could be the landlord is.
Whatever, I mean, I'm just wondering at this point, like, who kinda, I guess, monitors that? I mean, that would be.
Property owner is the end result there, I think.
Well, that's no different than them cleaning the stuff up out in their front yard, right? That's not happening. So, I mean, I guess legally, or is there some, like, you know, code that has to be put into place that they have to have that taken care of?
And we are trying. We are trying.
Okay.
The health department usually only responds if there are children in the house.
There were children in the house.
So,
And then they moved in with more children in the house. The next family came in, and then they've thrown all the stuff out in the yard that's, you know, right next to your family, right there. I mean, that house was, you know, the kid fought his food off because the cockroaches were gonna take his food. So, at the park, right there, next to Brad and.
It's been cleaned up, and people are in there. We don't even know they're hardly in there.
Yeah.
Well, there's been like 3 families that have lived there since then, and and all the stuff is just in the backyard.
No, it's been cleaned up. There's a swimming pool there. They cleaned it all up. We don't even know they're there.
So the cockroaches that are in those walls,
I have no idea on that. That's a skip house.
Yeah, that's a property's owner responsibility. And I'm pretty sure that he knows from years back.
right,
I don't know.
okay. Okay.
Can I add something to Mr. Dews? In June, hi sir, in June, you sent out that notice that the town was invited to go put off fireworks at the school. Did anyone think of having fire protection up there? Did anyone do any of the weeks? I did 2 weeks worth of them, because we took the truck to you and showed you that we had to go out to the dump. What would have happened if we had a fire then?
I don't know. I contacted the fire department, so.
Nobody was there.
Okay.
Control the fire department.
Okay, so, are you done?
Yeah, I'm done.
Okay, Myra?
Well, you know, we're talking about our cash and what it's being used for. Well, I wonder if any of you know that a loan was taken out under the former administration through the Department of Ecology for a stormwater drainage system. Well, apparently, the submission date was missed. The loan went through, but the project didn't. So you people are paying for a stormwater drain system that does not exist.
Are you,
Question.
Jamie, you want to speak to that, please?
Excuse me.
Well, she's accusing Jamie. I think Jamie
just
should know
getting
the
back.
facts.
Former
Oh, those aren't
administration.
facts. I gave you the email from Department of Ecology that
Yes.
explained that.
But we're still paying that stormwater drainage system off. And we will be paying it till 2038.
Paula canceled the project, not Jamie,
Oh,
so,
no,
you know.
Let's start that.
Let's get that
That
straight.
date. Jamie, you know.
The council, after I was done, finalized it and said you weren't gonna go through with all the parts and finish it.
Because the date was missed.
I don't know anything about that.
You were sitting right there staring Alan Gay down because it got missed.
I
Okay.
don't know what you're talking about,
Okay.
actually. If you wanna provide me with some paperwork,
No.
other than what I've seen.
Okay. Okay.
That would be fine.
Myra, do you want to continue or wait? Do you want to
Does
continue?
somebody have his hand up back there?
I would like to know where the money goes. I personally would like to know where the money goes.
for
You
that.
asked the question if we wanted to know. I say yes, I want to know.
Okay, so the
We would,
phone,
What I said,
I'm like Mr. Dew. I get a letter from something from the city that says my weeds need to be taken care of, and I'm taking care of weeds in the alley. The city gets a pass on weeds on the alley because of wet spring, but I get a letter. And I wanna know why we're just, I do wanna know where the cash goes. And I wanna congratulate the mayor, the current mayor, and the current council on increasing community involvement in these meetings. Because, I don't know how long this water issue's been going on, but apparently it's quite a long time. And we've been voting people in and expecting them to take care of the problems. And now we've got, and this is not against anyone, now I wanna know, yeah, I wanna know, that's why I'm here. And I'll be here for a while. I was here for about a year when Mayor Cook was the mayor. And it wasn't, he never talked down to anybody, like one of the council members have tonight and the mayor has tonight. I think it's disregarding people with demeaning tone and saying things like watering the air. There may be some truth to what you're saying, but you don't need to dig at people.
that wasn't a dig, but.
It certainly is a dig.
No,
If you can't
no.
see it's a dig, you're socially inept, coming from someone who's socially inept. I understand there's a lot of emotion, but she said, do people want to know where, yeah, I want to know where it goes. Where can a citizen of Lynn find out where the money goes?
So how much money is still owed, Myra? And how much money is still owed?
I'm not sure. I'll have to look it up.
And
But I
this
know
was
it
for
goes
a
through
sewer system that didn't go through.
No sewer.
Stormwater drainage system.
Stormwater drain system, and the loan is due, or ends when?
But the last payment, I think, is 2038.
So, is this like a monthly or a yearly payment that's made?
Barbara, I
I don't have the
I don't
paperwork.
have my sheet with me.
I don't have it either, so I'd have to look it up.
It's either.
Well, would you have that for us in the next meeting? And I would also like to know the dollar amount that we gained from selling water as well.
And you need to explain that the two lots that were part of the stormwater project could not be purchased and used, and that's what happened with that too.
Yeah, maybe the date that the paperwork, or I guess the final, it was all due by would be good to understand.
I think I will continue my next meeting.
Okay. Jim? George, I did.
You gotta be kidding. At this point in time, I think we've survived it, so I have nothing to add.
Okay, I have Cheryl Hawsey.
I have a couple things, well, actually three. One, I wanted the board and the mayor to thank Cagney, Brandon, and Stephen for their help during the fire. Because when this town was evacuated, they had every right to leave it. And they stayed and did what they could to help. And I think they should be commended for that, because I think that was very brave of them. I know they were out in the dirt, in the smoke, in the fire. So I think I would like the council to at least let them know that I and a lot of the community members are very thankful that they stayed and did what they did. Because they did it. Second, I have a question to Paula. Has Patty Murray's office contacted you regarding fire relief in any way?
No, Maria Cantwell is the only one, but I do have.
Is it the
emails.
Malden Relief Fund? Okay, well, I got notified that Patty Murray would be, and I told him to contact the mayor's office.
Yeah.
Because-
There's emails gone out, but nothing's come back yet.
Because her office has, when Malden burned, they have a Malden Fire Relief Fund.
Right.
And the people told me that they were going to contact you, so kind of be alerted to that, because they're, go ahead.
The mayor from Malden has contacted us, but nobody,
Well, evidently Patty Murray's office is supposed to be contacting you guys. And number 3, I don't know if any of you realize, there's all of a sudden an influx of raccoons in Lincoln. And they're killing a lot of things.
This is the first, are they
I
in
know, that's
people's
why I'm bringing it
backyards?
up, because, in the last week, I heard that somebody's been seeing them, and we have lost 20 chickens.
I lost 2 dogs, and it's weird because these are like little 6-pounders and
Mhm.
they wouldn't leave home.
Yeah, my dog doesn't
And
go out
I keep
anymore.
thinking, was it a hawk or whatever?
No.
So,
They're coming in, and
And we don't have raccoons in this area normally.
well, you do now.
Well, maybe the fires are driving them in.
And that could be too,
Because at
but
one time we had a porcupine in the yard.
you know what,
But-
that's probably a valid point.
and I'm assuming the fires have been, but they were here before the fire.
Oh, they
So,
were?
but there's other fires, they've been seen.
How many?
I don't
I
know.
shot 2
They're
last week.
they're nocturnal, I don't stay up and watch for them.
I shot 2 of them last week, they're big old buggers, they are.
Okay, but they're coming, they're here.
And they're
like
not
I said-
afraid. I got up in the middle of the night because I heard noise on my patio, and he was trying to get into my cat food container.
Wow.
And I went to the window and tapped on it, and he stood up, and he looked at me, and then he begged, like I was gonna give him some
Is
food.
that something we can trap?
Well, but my question is, I need to know if this, when skunks infiltrated Ritzville City took care of and got exterminators. My question is, or I want you to be aware that it's happening, and are they protected? Can we shoot them? Can we poison them? And is the city going to come in and help us with that? And I just wanted you to be aware that it's happening. Because, like I said, they're killing, I mean,
We have a coyote that's coming across our property.
well, they're in town every night.
He's been here 5 or 6 weeks.
From Thomas's experience, and to get a hold of, yeah, fish and
Okay,
wildlife.
but I just think the city needs to be
But the
aware
thing
that
is,
it's
there,
happening.
they can't be re-released, they have to be destroyed, people in the trap, Washington State law, so you have to destroy them.
They do destroy them on site.
Okay, but the reason I'm talking is because of that. I just want you to be aware of that, Patty Murray's thing, and to thank the city help. So that's what I wanted to say.
Apologies. Rose, you're up next.
Even before I moved here, the residents that live on the loop have always been neglected. And we're taxpayers just like everybody else that owns property in this town. So we should not be neglected. And I want to thank the council for putting in a project to improve our water system up there. and to pave, well, chip seal the road up there, because it did have chip seal up there at one time. Our pipes up there are from the 40s and 30s. They're not up to code, health and safety wise, they're not up to code, fire code wise. So I just want to thank you for doing that project.
Okay, we've got Susan Eichler.
She left.
Oh, she left, okay, so that's the end of the list.
Okay. Make a motion that we adjourn the meeting.
I second.
Okay, moved and seconded to adjourn.